Season 21, the title gets longer every time we say it. I'm, of course, joined by Luxy, who has been here since day one. Luxy, it's getting close, it's getting tight, it's getting also interesting. It's a four-way championship fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, only 25 points separate Ryan Jacobs away from Gianluca up in front. So, it is almighty close. That win last week out in Imola was fantastic from the Papaya McLaren driver. And, yeah, I mean, amazing stuff from Ryan Jacobs. And I hope he can bring that momentum into Suzuka, Japan today.
Yeah, top four last race. Of course, we went to the Emilia-Romagna circuit in Italy, aka Imola. We saw Ryan Jacobs take the win on the circuit. And guess what? The guy who's been leading the championship, Gianluca, able to find second place. Amos, able to find third, who's currently sitting in third in this championship. The outlier was Scott Holmes, who found himself in that fourth position. So the top four really are closely contending against each other. And it comes to this race here in Suzuka, Japan, where we can start eliminating few drivers who are in that shot. Reality is, Gianluca can't make a mistake and has to remain amongst the top, I'd say top five, to completely eradicate Ryan Jacobs out of this contention.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, Gianluca, he didn't have... I mean, his Imola was okay, but I think it could have been definitely better from his standpoint. I mean, yeah, he was driving fantastically, but there was moments where, I mean, he did look like there was a few people that were able to really pounce on him. Scott's got to lock in. He had his worst race yet back in Imola. So he's really got to lock in as he is 11 points behind Gianluca. So Gianluca has actually got a little bit of breathing room if he doesn't have the best of races today. Whereas, you know, you've got Amos and Scott Holmes who have the mighty Ryan Jacobs not far behind.
Yeah, well, let's be real. If we talk about drivers who should be nearer the top, Scott Holmes, if he had actually participated in Spain and Belgium, oh my, the championship probably would be a lot closer together for the top two. But nonetheless, we head over to Suzuka, where we're about to go a 5.807 kilometer circuit. First Grand Prix happened in 1987, and ever since then, it has been the pitfall, the drama, where everything has boiled down to the last minute, last second. Take Senna and Prost. The number of times those two collided on this track is phenomenal. Championships can and have been won, but of course today it is it is not impossible for the championship to be won. But Gianluca is asking for the four below to be 25 points away from when he finishes.
Yeah, also, one thing I want to mention about Suzuka, it is a high-speed track, many straights, only one DRS zone, and really tricky, technical, fast-sweeping corners. You've got the S section, you've got Dunlop Curve, you've got the Degners, and you've also got Spoon. But that also means overtaking can only really be done on the straight, so it could be either a sleeper race or an absolutely thrilling race. I mean, look back to Imola, look back to Monaco. We were having overtakes left, right, and centre in places you would not expect, and we also out on track. So let's get to the action.
Absolutely, let's get on to the action of which four drivers have said, you know what? Let's get it going, and it looks to be George Ansell or either Scott Holmes. It is George Ansell. Yeah, it was a 50-50 guess, and we got it right. To be leading the pack, and speaking of George Ansell, there's a lot of potential in the way he drives. He got second in Belgium, but then has remained in that midfield pack, 4th, 5th, when it came to Britain and the Emilia-Romagna race. But again, there's also the inconsistency of him turning up to races that has not helped his case. Currently sitting in 6th, he still has a chance to battle with Wilson Hall, who today also is on his outlap as well, showing on our screen as 13th. He is going to be fighting tooth and nail for that 5th place, but the gap behind Wilson Hall to Ryan Jacobs is just too far to even think about it.
I mean, also, we got to bear in mind George Ansell here. one of the more aggressive drivers on the grids. We saw him have a really nice move into turn 7, late on the brakes, try and get side by side with them, and it worked out quite a lot for him. He also tried to go for a move into Aqua Minerali, but now, starting his first qualifying lap here, for round 9, as he makes his way through 1 and 2, quite nice and easy. Don't want to really be aggressive with that curb, because it can really mess with the tyres. Be as aggressive as you possibly can through the S section, just letting that weight distribute along the left, right of the wheels and the right side of the wheels. Now through Dunlop Curve, my personal favourite corner coming up, the Degners. You've got to really be committed, as George Ansel is, down towards 4th gear. Get early onto the power as soon as possible, and then you've got to really make sure you go as late onto the brakes into the cambered hairpin of, I believe, turns 13. I may be mistaken. I don't know my Suzuki that well, but it's now a quite hefty run towards the spoon curve. This area is going to be dreadful when you're trailing someone. The dirty air in this game is horrific, but you can get so early on the power on the exit. It's really easy to overdo it, though. George Ansel, though, does it absolutely amazingly, but also, Matthew Roberts, you've sort of impeded George Ansel there. But anyway, now down towards Casio Triangle Chicane. Got to really be aggressive over the curbs. Can't leave any gap, because it will just be time wasted. And crossing the line now, it's a 26.5. Not a shabby lap there.
Aggression, aggression, aggression is all you need to write. George Ansel, banging time really to kick things off with a 26.5. Really pushed the limits, and that Haas that did get in the way, which I think was Matthew Roberts, actually also benefited. The toe. You don't usually get a toe down that short straight between 14 and 130R of 15. Is absolutely stunning to see, but we do stick with Ryan Jacobs as he rocks the lovely Silverstone livery. Has to go tight towards the edge, come across the line. He will take pole away from Franzik, and that is a 126.3 to kick things off.
Yeah, absolutely. Amos now, what can he say in retaliation? It's only a 26.6, so times are getting quite close here, though. This is what we love. We do love a really close qualifying top 5, only separated by 2, you could say 2 3/4 of a tenth. So, quite close in that top 5. I mean, we saw it very, very close in Imola, where after the first 2 laps, the top 4 were separated by less than a tenth. So, we do know these guys are very competitive during qualifying, and I think this is where it'll be really, really interesting. Now, one thing I do want to mention, Scott Holmes down into P9 as of now. Also, Matthew Roberts, a little bit of wobble out of the Casio Triangle Chicane, but Scott, he's not doing well yet again.
I feel there's a little trend with Scott Holmes. His qualifying is not the purest, it's not the fastest, but it's the racecraft that really kicks him alive and gets himself going. As Ryan Jacobs has left the session temporarily, which has forced a migration of hosts. So we might see a little bit of complaining and a little bit of network error that starts to come through. No one seems to be overly affected, so we're all good as everyone's coming in. But first rounds, not too bad. I think Kevin Wust, wow.
Definitely.
What a surprise. Kevin Wust is doing something a little different.
Yeah. We love Kevin, though. I mean, again...
No, he's not.
He's not. Yeah, I thought he was. But, no. He drove fantastically in Imola. Almost had a chance at another P4. He did get, I believe, what was it? P6, P5?
P6.
P6. Really good from him, though. As we've mentioned it quite a few times here, Active. He's very known for the alternative strategy, isn't he?
He is, but it kind of shows off on his track record, the consistency that comes from him from playing different. Australia, 8th. Spain, 6th. Belgium, the only time he goes outside the points of 11th. USA of Kota, 10. Monaco, 10th. Azerbaijan, best points position, 4th. Britain, 7th. And the Emilia-Romagna, 6th. Like, this strategy clearly is working for Kevin Wust, and he just needs to continue with this weird, bizarre strategy. And hey, you never know. He could absolutely dominate later on. Like, he's got 40 points on the board. He's 76 behind the championship, which means he's completely out of the chance for it. Why not?
Yeah, and I mean, also he's only 12 points behind, or 14. My bad. Behind Wilson Hall. So there is also a chance there for him to scrape in towards that top 5 area, depending on how well he can do against George Ansell as well. George Ansell looking mighty strong. 4th provisional as of now, and also Jack Humphreys is I believe he's the first one, or am I wrong? Is it someone else? I think it's Nico Rasenberg. Yes, it is. So you know the rule. He gets the screen time.
Absolutely gets screen time as he tries to get a little bit more temperature into those tires before having to go through the chicane. And this is where you got to be tricky. You got to make sure the power goes down, 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 and then you fly it through. I prefer a bit of a wider line to start, but apparently Rasenberg has a different angle. Through the first turn, it's a really awkward braking zone. 9 times out of 10 go wide because you have to brake while turning. Unconventional, but through the S's. Get one of these wrong and your lap is ruined. The flow just goes away from you, but Nico has it on lock. Doesn't be too aggressive on those curbs. Keeps it clean. Now, through the Degners. 1, 2... keeps it within the white lines of the McLaren, getting out the way quickly. It's so easy to overextend, and then the late braking. Trying not to understeer into the corner, and then vice versa. Oversteer onto the exit before powering up to Spoon. And again, a bit of an awkward braking zone because you half tap on the entrance, but you brake more throughout the corner and then power onto the exit before you go through this lovely little straight, but no DRS here because 130R is flat with these modern day cars. If Fernando Alonso can take it one hand, these guys can do it as well. Through 130R, late on the brakes, starts to go downhill, and then it's attack these curbs. Don't overdo it, and then get as close to the end line, the inside line. Rasenberg finds 5th. Decent improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. An astonishing lap there. Puts him 0.245 behind Ryan Jacobs. So, I think he should be very, very well and happy with that lap. Someone I do want to point out as of now is Scott Holmes as he's coming near the end of his lap. Jack Humphreys up towards provisional pole. What can Scott say in retaliation? He shoots himself up to that top spot and by almost 1.5 tenths. So mighty quick from Scott, and maybe he just had a shocking lap on his first attempt.
Hey, whatever it is, being on the provisional pole is exactly where you want to be on this track. It's not a great overtaking track. We've said it before on a lot of these circuits, but Suzuka is one of those. Only one clear spot unless you lunge it into turn 11. So Scott Holmes will be happy, but so will Jake Humphreys. Hey, he's not in this fight at all. Matter of fact, Jake Humphreys, I'm trying to find him on this list. Where has he gone? Jake Humphreys, I can't even see him on this list. That's how low he is. So what a performance from him.
Yeah, absolutely. As Amos up to P3 with all point. Never mind, Franzik just goes up to provisional pole, almost into the 25s as well. Can Gianluca, the man who's yet to settle up, the man who's leading this championship, he's coming towards the line. Will he be able to get into the sub-26s? No, he won't. He only goes to P8. This is not ideal for Gianluca. He's got to knock it in. He's going to have maybe one more lap left to go in this qualifier. And his championship rivals, P5, P4, and P2. This is
Doors
not
wide
idle.
open.
It's wide open. It's anyone's game as Christoph Goddard. As I believe he's coming to finish his lap through the Casio Triangle chicane, making his way towards the line. What will he do? No improvement. Remains where he is as of now. A position just behind his teammate, Sinan. And let's look. I think everyone's finished their lap.
Yep. Looks to be. And
Yeah.
just for correction, because I was trying to find Jack Humphreys. Jack Humphreys is 30th, by the way.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah, he is 30th because he's only competed in 2 of these races where he went 14th and 11th. So I'm just gonna say that's pretty impressive from being at the back of the championship to find yourself currently sitting P3 on the front of the second row. That's a great position, but yeah, Gianluca in 8th, opening the door.
Yeah.
Remember, at the moment there's 11-point gap. He only needs a minute, quick maths here. Give me a second. For 14 points more than Scott Holmes to claim this championship. Actually, no, he needs 15. Sorry.
So that means he needs Scott outside that top 5, and he needs... Well, if he wins this race, he needs Scott outside of the top 3.
Yes. This is too much maths for my head.
Yeah.
Right now.
We need people to do the maths for us. We should have done it before the race.
We should have done it.
But
Get the calculator, boys.
yeah. We are just waiting for everyone to finish. I think Axel's on a lap. No, he's invalidated. Michael Heidrich has joined back. Ryan Jacobs is also back. Now, one good thing that you could take away the positive that's happened towards Ryan Jacobs of, yes, he disconnected. And yes, he's missed out vital track time. But he does have a spare set of softs. Now, I don't know the weather forecast for today's race. It could be dreadfully wet. But if somehow there is a safety car for the final 4 laps, Ryan Jacobs is going to be in such a good spot because he's got that extra pair of softs. Because he's only going to be able to do another run. And I take it he's going to probably... Well, you never know. He may go out a little bit earlier. I don't know. I don't know what his strategy's going to be. I don't know Ryan Jacobs' sort of mindset with this. But one thing I do want to talk about is Wilson Hall. He's down into P15. I think this is the lowest we've seen him down in all qualifying sessions.
It really is the lowest. Of course, we don't have the stat sheets that say the qualifying positions, but in terms of race results, Wilson Hall, his worst position, well, the DNF in Britain won't help, but P11, where he has finished on track, was in Australia, the very first race. So being in 15th is going to suck, but we also know Wilson Hall's pace and his race pace.
Oh.
That's where he's going to come back. And being, 8/10, nearly a second off the pace right now, ain't going to feel good. But there's still plenty of time. But we have Sinan. We don't have Sinan. We were expecting somebody to do it.
Alessandro. As obviously he's the one on the outline. Now, one thing I just want the viewers to bear in mind is, not only is it nice and spicy in the drivers, but the constructors are even more spicier. Looking at the positions as of now, with where Atlassian and Williams are, Gianluca in 8th, Amos in 4th. If George Ansel can outscore Amos, so maybe Amos goes to P4 or P5 and George Ansel finishes P4. Williams will close the gap. Kick Sauber will close the gap towards Williams. The gap is now 67 points. Yes, I did say 6-7. My bad. But no. If Kick Sauber can outscore Williams, they go into Abu Dhabi with a chance at winning the whole thing. So, that's how spicy things are going. Things aren't only going down in the drivers, but also the constructors. And don't get me started on McLaren, because McLaren are on 69 points, only 2 behind Kick Sauber. So, if Wilson Hall and Ryan Jacobs can pull something out of their back pocket and do another 2-3, they would be set for Abu Dhabi. But Alessandro, the man on your screens now, I know he's not in the championship fight, but he is the first out on the outlap. So he gets the screen time, making his way through Sector 1, my least favourite sector. The only reason for it, these curbs on F124 were dreadful. You touched one bit of it, you were tumbling into the gravel trap on the inside or the outside. Now, you've got to be really careful through Dunlop Curve, because if you hit it, the curve's a little bit wrong, you're going to be bottoming out, you're going to be in the gravel. But through Degna 2 now, really nicely done, a little bit deep there. That's going to cause a lot of underspeed as you make your way out of the corner there. But through the hairpin, miss the apex. Now, some people don't actually hit the apex. It's more of so a fake. As you hit it, you actually lose time in my case. Now, you really want to try be aggressive on your entry through Spoon. Use that extra green tarmac because it gives you more grip. It opens up the corner a little bit more, meaning you can carry more speed throughout the corner. I bet that's what sort of Scott and Jack up in that 2 and 3 spots have been doing now through 130R, keeping a tighter line, minimizing the speed drop-off as you make your way through Casio Triangle Chicane. Gotta be as aggressive as you possibly can down towards third gear. Get the good traction, hold a tight line to the line, and it's going to be 0.2 of an improvement, but that's all it will be. It's an improvement, but no gain in place.
Well, now we're down to the do or die. Who's going to improve? Gianluca cannot improve. He stays P8. The championship leader cannot find a way at the top as Amos goes and massively jumps up. 26-0 to put him higher. Scott Holmes can't improve, stays P3, and there's still a shot for him to try and close down this gap. Ryan Jacobs can't improve. Your top 4 championship fighters done and dusted. Wilson Hill invalidates, can't put any improvement in as well, and he will have to stay down in 16th. George Ansell has some improvement, 2/10 on his time, will go behind in head of his teammate. He'll find himself second row, and that's a handy position in itself. We just seen a Michael Hetrick go and put himself in between P12. Axel pushes himself up into P9, but Franzik in the Haas, he is in P2. He has done phenomenal work from out of nowhere. He is in P2. And he is currently in 23rd in this championship. What a drive.
Look at the gaps. Less than a 10th separates the top 6. And less than 300 separate the top 3. This is the closest qualifying in Tier 4 to date. It's going to be one hell of a race. Ryan Jacobs in that absolute crucial position of P3. He's not many points behind Amos. If he can outscore Amos and go ahead and win today's race, that will put him massively in a great trajectory to maybe even win the championship. It's any man's game. Also, Lorenz Patton splitting the kick Saubers. That is so crucial. That means both George and Scott can't work together. Ryan as well. So down to that, I believe, P9 spot. So very, very amazing qualifying from Tier 4.
I'm just gonna ask Luke, if you're watching right now, our tier quad, essentially the league owner, can you give me permissions to like edit the spreadsheet so I can actively work out where these positions stand? Like, come on, give me those perms, because at this point in time, it's gonna get spicy, and I want to be giving you live update. I'm gonna have to create a spreadsheet. Hold up.
Oh my! Now, while Hyper does the spreadsheet for knowing how, like, sort of where the points will be after today's race, because us as commentators, we need this live information. We need this information pumping so we can give you, the viewers, this crucial details. But let's talk about strategy. Suzuka is a tire eater, right? I believe we're going to be seeing mediums to hards. The sky is blue. No clouds in sight. I don't think it's going to be a wet one, guys. So I believe we will probably just have a boring, clean, dry race. But I think these drivers will still go for moves left, right, and center. If we see someone go side by side through Degna 1 and Degna 2, and they don't cause a 5-car pileup, I will give them an apple tango from Tesco's. All right, I am dead serious, because if you can pull off a move through the trickiest corner combination, it'll be cinema. It will be cinema. And I'm very excited for this race. Scott's left the session. Why is he left? What's happening? What is happening? Let me see in the Discord.
No idea. I can't create a sheet quick enough.
Okay.
To go and do live changes, but I am telling you, I will try my best to give you the most up-to-date and live numbers. It's going to involve a lot of maths here, so if I go a little quiet, this is what I'm doing.
Absolutely. It's fine, though. But one thing is, there will be no lobby restart, as Matthew Roberts is the host, so the other tier coordinator. Because Ryan Jacobs and Matthew Roberts are the 2 tier coordinators for tier 4, and I think they should get a round of applause, because they are doing absolutely fantastically. They've got to make sure the lobby's up, you know, they've got to make sure everyone's in the right car, they've got to make sure all the reserves are in the right cars, and that they know what cars they're going to be in, and also they give me a bit of information of, they tell me who's racing for today's race, because that's the thing. Now, obviously, they didn't do it for today. Things were a little bit slow. I think it's just because it's a typical Monday night where you've just came home from school or work, or I don't know, whatever you want to do, maybe shopping out with your mates. You're going to be tired. Even though it's start of the week, you're going to be tired. I'm absolutely shattered because I just came home from college. And with college, I go 9 to 4:15. So, yes, I'm yapping about college.
I swear every time we talk about something of college, it's always, oh, I'm so tired, but you never hear me get tired about work. Anyways, back to this fight. I'm still working on the numbers and working out the maths, but I will get that for you. I will continuously work to create the quickest spreadsheet of your life.
Now, that's all we ask. But, I mean, one cool thing about college is because my college has an esports team, they do F1 esports. So guess what, guys? I applied to try and join the F1 esports team at my college, and I moved on to the second round of tryouts. So that's kind of cool, right? I'm not only a commentator, guys, I also do racing. So yeah. Jesus Christ, how long? I think this is the longest pre-race wait we've had. At this rate, we need a show, right? Like a disco time, like what they do in real life. We set up a big stage, and we get in Lady Gaga or something to perform a song for us. Because geez Louise.
Yo, if you're able to do that, that would be pretty cool if you're able to pull Lady Gaga. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's quickly talk while we have this big, long wait. Strategy. Of course, always one stop. We know it's going to be very juicy and interesting. What's the thoughts? Where do you think we should be stopping?
27-lap race. It's a tire eater. You want to really try and extend your mediums as long as possible. I believe the mediums will be the more favourable, especially for maybe Scott and Gianluca, as it was. They're sort of near towards the mid-pack. So they really want to get up, get that track position, box, and then go long. And work together and go long. That's what I think that's the sort of mindset they're going to want to be in. So I would say mid-pack, we're sort of going to see a mixture of hards and mediums, but more so on the mediums. With the mediums, I think they're going to be boxing around lap 10, 12. Which will then allow them to go lap 15 or, 15, 13, 15, 14, I mean, laps on the hards. Sort of more balanced. That's what I would expect. I mean, we'd probably see someone try and go even longer on the mediums. It really just depends of if you're having pace or not. And there's also, I don't think Parc Fermé's on. So these drivers will have a race setup and a quality setup. So their wings might be lower. There's so many factors that will include of when they box and why they box at the set time.
Sorry, I'm still multitasking here. I am desperately trying to get you.
I think we have
I didn't mean to do that. The fact we're having such a long delay does make me concerned that something is happening. Also gives me time to continuously get you a live spreadsheet that I can work out what the scoring and standings will be by the end of
We
it all.
are having a lobby restart, I believe. Yeah. So back to the camera scene, guys. You can see our my face because Hyperactive's camera isn't working because his phone died. But
Yeah.
you can see my messy
Dang.
bed because I forgot to make it. I think this is the first time the stream has ever seen my bed unmade. I'm just saying that. It's just because I've had a hectic day. I was in my bed when I got home and I almost fell asleep.
Here we go again. Here we go again. It's another hectic day, whatever. But okay, so as of the current positions, and remind me, Gianluca currently situates himself in 8th, correct?
Yes.
So that means he would only get 4 points. With Scott Holmes, he found himself in 2nd.
No. Scott was 4th. George Ansel was
4th.
6th.
So 4th is 10.
Amos
George-
was P1, I think, and Ryan Jacobs was P3.
P3. That's 12. So currently, if they finish the race as it is, I've done some my calculation's not working. What is going on here? It would be a 25-point gap. Gianluca would still be able to claim. It would go down to the final wire because Scott Holmes could close it out.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is how, if it stands like this, Gianluca would become champion.
Would he?
Yes, and I'm pretty sure I've done my maths correct because another 4 points to his original number, which was 116 right now, would put him at 120. With Scott Holmes, whose current points at 105, he's going to gain additional 10. Oh no, I did it wrong. I did minuses instead of pluses. Hold up.
I was about to say, I don't
Correction. Correction. Let's get this corrected. I was wondering why this seems a little odd. Here we go. Updated. No, in this current standing, Amos would jump ahead and he would take the championship lead. And essentially, Ryan Jacobs in this current position would have to rely on a win in Abu Dhabi and the other 3 not to score points.
Oh, so Ryan Jacobs really needs to lock in and hope his rivals just don't end up finishing the race.
Exactly. That is how massively crazy these points are. I said I'm gonna be trying to give you periodically updated standings to who is when, where, how, and why. But right now, this championship is still wide open. Of course, Ryan Jacobs is the outlier here. He is in a position where this huge amount of points won't do him that much. He is, I think, a win, theoretically. So, say Amos let's play hypotheticals at this point. Amos goes into 2nd. He gets 18 points, and Ryan Jacobs wins with 25. At that point, will the championship go down to a 5-point difference with Scott Holmes? Assuming he stays in his position, Gianluca stays in his position, but Amos gets 2nd and Ryan Jacobs gets the win. We're talking 5-point gap. 120 with Gianluca, 115 with Scott, and 116 joint by Amos and Ryan.
Yeah. So, things... Basically, to cut long story short, it's a spicy... no matter where these guys finish, it'll be a very, very spicy end to the season. And Ryan Jacobs, he's the one that's got the most unlikely chance of being season 21 champion, but I mean, we love an underdog story. So my money's on Ryan Jacobs to win this season, and no, it's not because he's in the Papaya McLaren. It is that
Yeah.
reason. I'll be honest. It's that reason. I love McLaren. It's my favorite team.
Oh, join the club, and I'm about to give you my camera again because I have charge in it.
Woohoo!
You'll see exactly what I'm wearing, and it's going to give away my allegiance as well. But yeah, the maths is all supporting this very, very close championship and what we should be heading into. I'm looking for. I think Abu Dhabi is a fitting way to end. I think it very much is how it should go down. But Suzuka is one of those tracks where it is difficult to overtake.
Yeah.
So the standings we see, essentially, you've got to rely on safety car strategy and the Hail Mary ability to send it round the outside or lunge it down the inside into turn one. 9 times out of 10, it's round the outside for turn one. Or if you have a godsend of a run into turn 11, you could make a lunge, which I think there is only one name that I could see doing that, and that is George Ansell, to go and dive bomb into 11. But then the other place is turn 16. A good run through 14, use your battery pack on it. You're able to get yourself a good run through 130R. Maybe a 16 overtake DRS detection point is just before the 130R. Then you gain that little boost off the exit. There's a lot of advantages that you could play off if you will essentially deplete your battery all the way through.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's going to be a few people, George Ansell, who are going to go for a devious send somewhere, and it's going to either be an amazing move or cause absolute chaos. I mean, we had a little bit of chaos during Imola, but most of the time it was amazing moves, and Ryan Jacobs doing not once but twice round the outside going into turn 2 of Tamburello, which gave him the inside of turn 3 and just ultimately gave him that position. He did it on Amos and he did it on Gianluca, so he did it on both Williams. He's just showing last round that he was still here, and that don't discredit him from the championship fight. So I think if Ryan Jacobs can bring that momentum from last week into this week, he'll have a fantastic race. George Ansell, I mean, I think Scott, George Ansell, all those guys, the only reason they didn't have a chance at a win is because there was someone on the alternative strategy who stayed out. Scott was behind them, and it just allowed a big gap to form. And with that countless fighting with George, I'm trying to think who was in that pack with George. You know, you had George, Kevin. Sorry.
Please
George,
don't die.
I'm not going to die on stream, but don't worry. It was George, it was Kevin, Scott, and there was a blue car with them. It was Wilson Hall. That's who it was. Because George was going for countless moves on turn 7, trying to get it stuck with Wilson Hall. That's what I'm forgetting. Wilson Hall's just going under my radar. And mathematically, he can't win the championship, which is a bit of a shame, but it would be quite cool to see him win a race before the end of the season.
It would be great. It'd be fun. But yeah, mathematically, he's out of contention. All eyes are on the top 4 and what they can do. But yeah, I agree. You know, George Ansell has slowly but progressively been building his way up and improves step by step. Of course, having a disqualification in Spain doesn't help the matter. You can only imagine what points he could have gathered from that. On top of it, you know, not being there for Belgium and for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, it affects a lot. There's a lot of what ifs, and you can play those what ifs, but the availability of these drivers isn't always there. That's the beauty of this league, is that a lot of people get involved, and it's all about their availability, which then allows some of the reserves to do quite well. Talking of reserves, the best reserve we've had is Nick Arrow, who won Australia, DNF'd the next 2 races, and then found himself 6th in the United States.
Yeah. I love the fact that he won 1 round. Then he fell off for 2. I mean, the shenanigans in round 2 and 3 was not his fault. The reason he DNF'd in Spain was because him, Sin, and someone else thought it would be a great idea to try and go 3 abreast through turn 3. And basically sort of recreated a Silverstone Nico Rosberg sort of cinematic crash. And then shenanigans happened at Spa, involving some set individuals, which got them race bans. And of course, Nick was one of the people that got affected by said shenanigans. And then Koto was a bit of a weird race as well for him. He had pace, but I think he got spun, or he spun somewhere in the race. So he had a good comeback. He had a box early and stuff. So a lot happened to him from round 2 onwards. And unfortunately, he's not here today. I think he is a reserve, so obviously he's a busy sort of guy. But I mean, that round 1 drive from him was absolutely masterclassful. I mean, you could tell this season was going to be good just from looking back at round 1.
Yeah, it's very much an all over the place, but the consistency still lies with, I'd probably say, the top 10, top 7, realistically, of driving pace, where you've got Kevin Wust down in 7th and goes up from there. I'll give a little bit of credit to, as I said, Nick Arrow and what he's done on that run. But Louise in 9th, pretty consistent, didn't participate, wasn't, he joined after the Australian race, went into the Spanish race, P4 off the bat, another P4 from Luis, and then 9th and 7th, and then slowly going downhill.
Yeah. I think that's a common theme for a lot of these drivers, is they either started the season really strong and then started to go down, or they started the season really rocky and then got their way back up. Like, I mean, look at Ryan Jacobs. He a 6th, a DNF, and then a 5th, and then a podium in round 4, didn't do round 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 3, 2, 1. So he's improved throughout the season, and he's got great momentum going into the next 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's what he needs to do, and he just needs to keep it going, keep that drive going in the most literal and punny sense, and essentially enjoy the last few races and see what happens from it. But talking of races, we are loading it back into the game, so we are getting close. I know you're all probably bored of the questionable figure of Luxy. I don't know which way he is on the camera, but that guy.
I'm on your,
and enjoying
on your
my
left.
On your left? Yeah. That way?
Other way. Wait.
That's my right.
oh, my bad.
but still, we are loaded into the game. We are getting there. We're getting onto the point. Let's draw it back, bring back to the focus of today, and that is that top 4. That is, of course, the battle that we are looking at. Ryan Jacobs has to win to bring everything back into his favor, to give him somewhat so of a shot in Abu Dhabi. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
Is just that shot opportunity.
Yeah. And you could call this race the Battle of the Brutes. The 4 Mafia bosses going head to head to see who will come out on top and set themselves up beautifully for round 10 of Abu Dhabi. I'm really excited to commentate that race, just because I have a feeling it's gonna be exactly what it was like back in 2021 with the real Formula 1, where it was cinema. I think we're gonna get that, but in WOR, which is even better.
I'm down for a cinema and close title fight. This isn't the first time that I have been involved with an extremely close title fight, a 3-way title fight back into WOR season 17, 18. I think it was.
We're on the
3, but Luxy, take it away.
5 red lights, engines are roaring, and we're go for round 9 of the WR Tier 4 Canter, and there's already a Red Bull off the track. It's a great start from Amos, and Frantic with Ryan Jacobs round the outside. He's going to have the better run going into the S's, but The Haas are going to try remain side by side. George Ansel in the background trying to look for a move. I was wrong. It was actually Scott Holmes who's in that P6 spot. And Jack Humphreys, the man who is doing amazing in qualifying, is out of the race.
That is horrible to see. Jack Humphreys was doing an absolutely sterling job. He now has to sit at the sideline, watch it all unfold. But if you're Amos and Ryan Jacobs, this is a dream scenario. This is exactly where you want to see himself. And Sinan has just pushed Scott Holmes further down the pecking order, down into 7th.
This is not ideal for Scott, the man who really needs to buck her up. Gianluca out of the points as well. It's all going wrong for the 2 title contend. Well, all 4 of them, but the 2 people at the 1 and 2 spots, they're all the way down the order. Amos and Ryan Jacobs are going to be grinning behind the wheel. We may even see a move in the making. They're so close. George Ansel looking on the move for the MoneyGram Haas in front. Oh my God, Wilson Hall's gone tumbling around as well. He's losing countless spots. What is happening?
Ryan Jacobs going for the move on the lead. He goes side by side. He's been forced off. But so has George Ansel. The chaos has just assumed. And Ryan Jacobs, the attempt onto Amos, gets pushed away. But they have to remain. And still, as it stands, and what an amazing stance, Amos would take the lead of this championship and be 14 points ahead of his close contender, Ryan Jacobs, who sits behind him.
This is gone from bad to worse for not
more contact in the background.
Oh my God, it just doesn't stop. The gap is 1.7 as well. So George Ansel's got to really buckle up.
Axel's out.
What is happening?
He's throwing down.
He's all the way last. Kevin is down to P17 as well. This is not going well for half of the bleeming grid. Let's have a rundown of the tire compounds. It's medium and hard. Like we said, it's not an even split. Scott Holmes, Jan Luca, Michael Heidrich, Nico Rassenberg, Lorenz Patton, Luis and Matthew Roberts, all on that alternative hard compound tyre. That's why they all lost positions at the start of the race, and almost 3 abreast in the Casio Triangle chicane. They're going to remain side by side. It's going to be Franziek who's going to come out on top. A little bit of wheel locking. Will we see countless moves on the main straight? DRS flaps are open. It's going to be George Ansel who'll be falling down the order. Scott Holmes is boxed out 3 abreast through turn 1, and that is going to be Ryan off the track again. What is happening in Suzuka today?
Ryan playing risky, tried to capitalize on the advantage of the massive double slipstream that came through. But Scott Holmes, he was in the danger zone being squished, and he knows for this championship fight, he has to keep it clean. He can't be playing this risky, as all of the back of the packs are absolutely tussling amongst each other. It's aggressive, it's reckless, and it's downright dirty as down the inside goes the Haas, as George Ansel, I've just realized, has wing damage. How is he keeping that Haas going? How is he keeping himself up to and holding the rest of the pack?
We missed it.
Will have to give.
Ryan Jacobs is leading the race. When was this move? We're missing so much. Franziek back into that P5 spot. But it's Ryan Jacobs who's leading the Suzuka Grand Prix today. It's absolute cinema. And with 3 laps in, Scott Holmes is up the positions now. George Ansel's off the track. You've got Nico Rassenberg going for a move as well. Ryan Jacobs with the fastest lap. Action is happening left, right, and centre. We have a 5-second gap. With 4 laps in, Amos retakes the lead. They're side by side through turn 2. Oh my God, that Hyper. What is happening today?
I don't have fast enough fingers and brains to keep track with it. What is going on? Scott Holmes jumping a huge number of positions to keep his championship fight open. Absolute cinema. He gets 8 points now. 25, 18, 15. 12, yeah, 10 points for himself, which currently, as it stands, again, Amos would take the lead of the championship. Scott Holmes would be 1 point behind Gianluca. But Gianluca would be 7 points behind Amos. It's absolute cinema that if when Ryan Jacobs takes the lead, it drastically changes, and then it's all down to matter of single-digit points.
Oh my god. And also, Gianluca, he started the race in 8th. He's down 4 positions. He's down to P12. George Ansel slowly dropping through the order. Was 10th, now 11th. It's just all kicking off so early on. The top 4 are having a nice light breezy race, and then you get towards where Scott, Franzik, Nico, and it's like a war zone. It goes from peaceful to a war zone just like that, and you've got, actually, Wilson Hall maybe going for a move here. He almost has Gianluca tumbling into the wall. You have Matthew Robertson behind as well. The DRS flaps are open. They're going to remain side by side down towards turn 1. The inside line more favourable. Gianluca gone for the switchback. Won't be able to get it done before turn 4. It's just cinema. It's a great move from Wilson Hall, and he's almost in towards the points.
What a recovery drive from Wilson Hill if he's able to get himself back into those points position. Massive boost for the McLaren squad, especially as they're trying to fight for the constructors as well. Though, as it stands, it would be Williams taking the constructors here today. They'd be able to close it out, but the focus is all at the front as we're seeing a 2-line difference between Amos and Ryan Jacobs. Amos playing very aggressive on the exit. I'll tell you what, that exit from Jacobs won't help at all. But it is just a matter of what little difference can I do to give myself a slight advantage.
Oh, absolutely. But also, we've got to watch out. That mistake could cost him... Well, it costed him a lot of time, but it's also Lorenz, not far behind, could have a nice little run out of the final corner. And we may see Ryan Jacobs lose a position as this game... No, the closer you get, the more dirty air you get. But the closer you get, there's no increase in slipstream. So that's why overtaking is very difficult on the straights. A lot of drivers have voiced their complaints. And, I mean, if you make a big enough mistake and you don't gain anything on the straight, it's just not amazing. But also, Scott in behind, he's gaining time then losing. He's having to basically drive by himself because I don't think Scott can really trust anyone around him to help him cut that gap down.
No, Scott is doing what he can, and he is punching in laps. He just put the fastest lap time to close down this 5-second gap. If he does that, it is going to be seriously impressive. But the reality is, it is a tall order to get a 5-second gap closed down enough that an undercut or an overcut would become viable once they hit the pit stop phases. But talking of pit stops, talking of all that, we've got to remember, these drivers are running on different strategy. Lorenz running on the hard. Scott, he's on the hard, while Rasenberg, Hendrick, basically the real front contenders all on hards. The rest of them, mediums. So it is all to play for, and Ryan Jacobs getting ever so close. And I tell you what, this is close enough for yet another overtaking opportunity as Amos messes up on the final turn.
Oh, this could be it. This could be Ryan Jacobs' second chance at leading the race. He's gaining down to the inside line as he makes his way through turn 1. It's a nice light and breezy move. It's the Papaya to take the lead. Michael Heidrich's making a move on Nico Rasenberg for that P7 spot. And yes, like you were saying, Lorenz and Scott, they're going to be going longer, where you see Ryan Jacobs and Amos, they're going to work together. As of now, box up probably at the same lap, because right now, it's only between these two. I would say we could rule Scott Holmes out as of now. I mean, he is slowly gaining lap after lap, but by the time he hit that pit stop phase, it's still going to be 2, maybe 3 seconds, and I don't think he'll gain that much time during the pit stop phase.
Luxy, as it stands, 3 of the drivers would be at 116, while Scott Holmes would be at 115.
Oh, no.
That is how close this championship is. Still a 4-way fight. Ryan Jacobs needs to break a 1 second gap, solidify this first place finish. And then he has created the ultimate comeback to keep a 4-way title fight open. Meanwhile, Scott Holmes is still closing. He is looking, and I ruled it out a little too early, but Scott Holmes could get into pit stop range by, I would probably say, lap 15, give or take.
The one problem is I think Nico Rosberg into the pits. Why is that? Does he have damage? I don't know, but Scott, he's gaining and gaining, but I think he was just really burning on that lap, as we're going to have to see right now. Suzuka, you gain so much ERS in this Sector 1. You pop it into medium, you pop it into none, you gain so much because you don't need to be using it because you're not going to gain much time now. Ryan Jacobs, he could try and pull away from Amos, get that lead, like you said, that 1 second threshold gap. That would be amazing. If Ryan Jacobs can get a podium for today, it will keep his championship hopes alive.
There's also the other way of looking at it. Amos and Ryan could really work together amongst this opportunity. Don't fight each other when you go for the overtakes. Allow each other to slowly push up. What that does is keep that gap away from Scott Holmes, because they're running the numbers in their head. They know exactly what to do in these scenarios, and they could work together. It's risky, but why not play with it? Why not play with that idea?
Yeah, absolutely. Also, at this stage of the race, despite all the malarkey that happened on those first 3 or 4 laps, the hards are going to be a lot better than the mediums. Like I mentioned, this track is a tire eater, and maybe starting the hards is the better strategy, because when you get to that pit stop phase, you can go longer. You'll still have that good enough, life in the tires where you can still hold a decent amount of pace when people that swap to the hards, they'll be really cold hards. They'll be really slow. You actually will gain more with this strategy from Scott. So, yes, he just lost 3/10 in the first sector, but I think Scott could still have a chance at a win today.
Let's talk about Gianluca right now. P11. He's only just got into the points, thankfully, for some due to pit stops, but this is a disaster of a race. Right now, him holding the championship lead is up in the air. There is too many question marks. He has to perform a strategy mastermind. He would have to essentially go with Kevin Wust and do the impossible, go long, make a tire offset that is a god tier, or rely on the dream scenario safety car to absolutely save his race. Because right now, what could have been an opportunity for him to close this championship has turned into a nightmare where the championship is tightened up.
Oh, absolutely. And also, Wilson Hall started this race in P15, and well, let's just look at the thing. He's up 9 positions. That means he started P17. He's up 9 positions. He's driving like he's boxing on lap 10. We're already boxing? Wait, what? No way.
The mediums are seriously dying out.
I mean, yeah, clearly, because look at the gap between Scott and Sinan. It's dropped massively.
So with Gianluca, again, we're doing live predictions, live numbers right here. There's 4 points for himself. Would massively change it. 120 for Gianluca, 116 for Amos and Ryan Jacobs, and then 115 for Scott Holmes. Still, that's an open book. An open book entirely going into Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, and one thing is George Ansell setting the fastest lap of the race. He's on 4-lap old hards. He's going to go for this double stop. Right now, he's going to go medium hards, and he's going to be like, you know what, mediums. He may have a lot of pace. He's going to be gaining massively on Axel Kristoff and Wilson Hall during this phase as their tyres heat up. If he can get within, I think he could still have a chance at points of George Ansell. But what I'm saying is, is once those hards come alive, I think by the time Scott boxes, it's going to be anyone's fight near the front, because I would say, there we go, Sinan,
Front
Ryan
runners going
Jacobs, and
in.
Amos all coming in towards the pits. It's going to be Lorenz Patton and Scott Holmes who stay out. Same with Gianluca here, as Franzik in P7 in the Haas has also boxed. Let's look at like Gianluca. Where will Ryan Jacobs come out in correlation with these other drivers? Massively behind.
Well, massive shake-up indeed. It changes everything. Ryan Jacobs finds himself in 8th, which only gives him 4 points right now. Of course, this is preliminary positions because we know pit stops are still coming through. We know it's changing left, right, and center. Yeah, if somehow we had a complete race end like this, it's absolute mayhem. But as you saw on your screens just briefly, 7th and above still need to stop. But Kevin Wust, no surprise, Kevin Wust going long.
Just, he's up 10 positions. He's going ultimately long. Same with Michael Heidrich as well, up 10 positions. Started P13 here. Kevin starting P15. Now, there's a lot of people to keep an eye out for. I would say watch out for this top 7, but they're all going to drop back down towards P10, P11, P12, because they see us yet to box. And
Well,
Scott
now we get to...
is closing in Lorenz.
Everything's starting to quieten down. I think we have the chaos. Our hearts have got pumping. Now we got to come more to the patient zone.
Yeah.
The strategies are so different. The offsets are starting to come in as well. If your name's Kevin Wust. We're going to see these differences start to come through. And it comes down to the question, is it better to go and be on those mediums later on? These fresher hards are going to clearly close down that gap, but how much of a gap closing are we doing here? Too many variables that makes it feel impossible to even predict or work out.
Yeah, and Kevin is staying with Luis's, so him going long isn't a bad idea. This could pay apps. This could be amazing for Kevin. Not a chance at a win as of now, but maybe a chance at a top 7, top 5? I don't know. But he's looking good.
The pace is there. He's clearly able to keep up. He is on that fringe. I think he is getting to the point, maybe lap 14, I would probably see Kevin Wust pull into the pits and call it a day and then go on to those hards. But right now, this is a sterling drive once again for the alternative strategy. And yes, I did call it the alternative strategy because it really is.
Let's call it the Kevin strategy. Because Kevin's the only one that does the alternative.
Oh, I'm mistaken. Here he goes. He's coming in.
Yeah, but that 2-3 lap overcut he's got over Ryan Jacobs and that's a lot. He's going to be on similar pace to, I believe we're going to see Scott, Michael, and Lorenz and Gianluca come in the next 1 or 2 laps. So, Kevin is going to be able to go longer and he's going to have more pace throughout the remainder of this race then. P1 down towards P6 as of now.
Yeah, but look how far back he drops. This is where I said about that question mark. He's now gone from P6 all the way down to P15. That's majorly far behind from the rest of the runners. And it's all well and good having a tire offset. But as the great legends say, it's all well and good catching up, but it's all about the overtaking.
Yeah. And overtaking will resume hopefully soon, but Ryan Jacobs really closing in on Matthew Roberts. This could be bad for him. If he can't get the move done on a straight, if he can't get the move done going into turn 1, he's going to be massively held up through the S's, which is something you don't want, because it's going to allow Scott and Michael and Lorenz to gain through a section where you should have more grip and be a lot more faster.
Yeah, but he's a little too far back this time round. There is 0 point for doing a lunge yes, you have tire grip advantage, but it just seems idiotic. I stand mistaken. Nope, that was way too easy.
What about Amos, though?
It was way too easy.
What about Amos? Will he get hold up? Wait, this could be very, very bad for Amos, because look, he's getting massively held up. Matthew Roberts is losing time to Ryan Jacobs. By the time we exit Sector 1, it's going to be a second gap, and Amos... Wait, Amos is out of the DRS detection, and same with Matthew Roberts, practically, because let's be real, those old hards are... He's out. This is so shambles for Amos. His race has been flipped upside down because he wasn't able to follow Ryan Jacobs through on that main straight.
That's going to kill. As a driver, that's going to really eat inside of you, knowing that the person ahead is just so flippin' slow.
Absolutely.
Oh, even I had that. It's a rarity. I was chasing up behind somebody and putting the pressure on like this, but even then... the time I did have that, I was screaming for him to get out the way. And Amos will have to do this a lap later with now a 2-second gap between himself and Ryan Jacobs. He still has to wait through the S's. I genuinely feel sorry for Amos, but he knows he's got some pace. He knows that a launch is going to be done. And goodbye, dear sir. An extra position for himself.
Now, he will gain time on this main straight with the DRS, you know, he's going to get that sort of slingshot effect, but he's still going to really need to work it in. Obviously, top 5 is still yet to box. You've also got Matthew Roberts still yet to box as well. So, this race is going to be really close. Scott is slowly cutting that gap towards Lorenz. Nice and slowly, it's going down.
Do you want the championship standing update?
Yes, please.
We haven't had it for a while. So as it stands, again, imagine we get a red flag that completely destroys the race and we say, this is it, it is done, we're closed off, which is a rarity in this stage of the race. Right now, Gianluca will retain first place, but Amos will be 24 points behind and only just able to fight into Abu Dhabi. Scott Holmes completely fine. He'll be 5 points behind. But Ryan Jacobs, even though he is ahead of Amos, would be 29 points behind. He wouldn't have a shot. So it is vital that he gets further up as Scott Holmes. Into the pit he goes with a 10-second gap between himself and Gianluca. This is massively going to help him. But where will he come out? He's behind Ryan, he's behind Amos, and he's going to continue to drop position because he's behind Scott Holmes. It tumbles down, and all that hard work. I think he's going to be behind the Haas at this rate. He'll slot between. Is the Haas going to go for a move around the outside? No. What a drop in positions.
But it was expected. The only problem is Scott's going to have to try and pick his moves very smart here, because everyone in front of him, once he gets those mediums up to pace, everyone in front of him is going to be quite awfully slow compared to him. So he's got to be very smart, and I think he's going to try and eye up a move on Ryan going into the hairpin here. Will he be close enough? No, he won't. He won't try and do a outrageous lunge down the inside.
He's roughly about 9-10 seconds behind Amos. That's a lot. You are basically asking to do a second a lap quicker to get up to the rear end of Amos, to really hunt down serious championship points. And reality is to put a dent into this championship, it is very much possible. As now Luis and Gianluca will go into the pits. This promotes Ryan Jacobs and Amos in 3rd and 4th. The points keep going up. They won't say no to this.
The one thing I want to say there is Ryan Jacobs was able to get DRS, which allowed him to get so much speed on that main straight The gap between him and Amos is 2 seconds. Now, Amos, a very quick driver. We know he's been able to win a race. He's that quick. I mean, everyone who's fighting for a championship has won a race, where obviously you've got Scott who's won 3, you've got I believe Jan-Luca who's won 2, and then Amos and Ryan Jacobs have won 1 individually. So they're all race winners, meaning they have pace, they're really quick drivers, they know how to handle themselves in tricky situations. It's just Scott's been the one who's massively been told, you got to adapt. With that malarkey, with that massive gap that was forming on lap 4, he had to adapt massively. Same with Jan-Luca, and Scott looks really good as of now, but Jan-Luca, out of the points and only 2 people in front of Ryan Jacobs, needs to do a box. Well, 3 because of Matthew Roberts. So Jan-Luca looking at minimum to little to none points, basically.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good for Jan-Luca. You could theoretically rule him out of even getting points, as finally the front 2 pit, and we're back to everybody being in somewhat so the right place, which means leader Ryan Jacobs at 25 points. Amos, who is 2.5 seconds behind, by the way, is only going to situate himself with 18 points. Scott, well, that's a jump up. P4, a major upgrade, will find himself with 12 points, meaning he would take the lead of the champion. Would all be tied with points.
Oh my. This is going to be one hell of a race. Amos gains here, he loses there. Scott, he's making absolute ground with those mediums, but once those mediums get to around lap 7, he's going to be on, or probably even lap 6, he's going to be on the same pace as Ryan Jacobs and Amos. So he's really got to lock in and make sure he's not held up behind Sinan through sector 1 and 2, because there's no overtaking opportunities there. Because if you go for a move through the S's, you're going to lose more time than you will gain. And I mean, let's just go to see him, as I think he's going to get best case scenario of, I mean, he's got a middle purple sector. He won't get DRS on the main straight, so he may as well actually be held up through sector 1 and 2. So Scott may actually lose a lot of time on this lap.
He might lose a lot, but at the same time, could you pull something out the bag? It's confirmed Scott Holmes purpling the entire track. You could also lunge one. There is 2 opportunities. Why not 11? Well, why not throw it in 11? You could. He's got the pace. If he swings it round, goes through the Degner 1 and 2 very smoothly, send one down the inside of the hairpin, you could make the move, or potentially at the start a spoon. There are opportunities. If he wants to get restless, if he wants to risk his championship fight, why not throw it in?
Yeah. Now, one thing I do want to say, Lorenz isn't far behind, and he's got a 2-lap tyre offset. So, with this being held up behind Sinan, he's within the DRS range. So, we may even see Lorenz give Scott a run for his money, not just because he's got the 2-lap difference. And we've seen how big of a tyre margin some drivers have gone and how much of a pace advantage they had. I mean, look back to Silverstone when you had Scott go massively longer than everyone else. And, you know, near the end of the race, the final 4-5 laps, he gained so much time. So, yes, it's only a 2-lap offset. I think Lorenz, though, could still have a massive pace advantage. As Scott's a little bit wonky through the chicane. He'll get the DRS, but Lorenz will be able to follow him through, making our way down the main straight. You could say, oh, making our way downtown, and I think Lorenz may be able to go for a move. Will he go for the lunge? No, it's defended by Sinan Jr. He's got a roll. They make a little bit of contact mid-apex. This is not it. Oh, Sinan's played that beautifully. He's defended the right person. He was like, I can't hold Scott behind, but I can hold someone else behind for one more lap, and this is going to allow Scott to just keep on going by.
He could have done a George Russell, maybe try and do it through the S's, but no, Lorenz fuming. Where have we seen this once before? Amos and Ryan Jacobs, it's deja vu, but look how furiously close he is. He even looks for the lunge. He wants to get past so early, and that's the exit traction he could be looking for. Maybe into Spoon could be the overtaking opportunity that we could be awaiting and seeing as he closes in. He has to remain patient and professional as it goes down the inside. Lorenz makes the move on the exit of Spoon, and now he can continue his hunt. He's lost at 1.9 seconds to Scott Holmes, but he won't care. He's hunting.
Absolutely. He can just see, he can smell the kick Sauber in front of him, and he's just like, I want that podium. And I would say with the tyre, you can just see Sinan is really struggling on those tyres. Looking behind as well, Jan Lucas starting to make ground up in behind. He's got the teammate of Ryan Jacobs, Wilson Hall, in front of him though. So that's going to be a big squabble. As look how many cars are here on the main straight. Just let's watch this battle.
It's going to be an absolute dramatization. Scott Holmes, though, just a little pointer. He has closed that 2.6 second gap. It's now down to 1.7 to Amos. Realistically, Scott Holmes could win this race. Scott Holmes could pull out with a humongous advantage, but we stick with the guy in 10th, our championship leader, who's been held up by Wilson Hall. And if there is any team orders amongst the TF10 squads, this is the time to make it happen. This is the time you tell your second driver, defend like a lion. Do everything that you must within the rulebook to keep Gianluca away, to give Ryan Jacobs that somewhat so major point closure to keep him within this fight.
Oh, absolutely. And Michael Heidrich getting the move on Sinan there for that P5 spot. We will go towards the front once Scott gets him in the DRS, but I would love to stay on for this fight because Wilson Hall will get DRS from Franzique up in front. So Gianluca may have a tough time getting the move done into turn 1. So it's going to be interesting of what Gianluca is going to try and pull here. 5 laps left to go. It's all to play for now. Scott Holmes may not actually be able to win because of the amount of time that's left, and his tyres will slowly be dropping. He's forced on the curb there. A lot of wheel spin on the exit. Wilson Hall remains in that P9 spot.
Oh, risky Gianluca. He knew that what's at stake. There's 2 ways you go. You go aggressive or you play passive, and Gianluca said aggressive is my pathway. I must defend my championship. I must be ahead, and it's not paid off. We head to the front. Scott Holmes, 0.7 of a second behind Amos, and Amos will not have DRS. He is left alone. He has nothing to protect him right now, and he will get picked off. 0.3, 0.4 of a second. It is slowly closing. The lovely banana-shaped straight before you go into 130R. We know Scott Holmes likes to make a move into the chicane. He's not going to do it here, playing it safe, because it's down into turn 1 where he will get the boost of DRS, being 0.23 of a second behind. It's done, it's dusted, it's all too easy. Scott Holmes in second place, and Amos can only watch.
Just amazing from Scott Holmes there, but I think Amos, despite him being 5 laps underneath that tyre offset, I think there's a chance he can hold on for dear life if he can keep it for 1 more lap. I mean, just try in there so we can have something as a defense barrier against Lorenz, who's rapidly closing that gap down. It was 1.6 at the start of the straight, and now look at it. It's almost below a second, and Amos, he is keeping within that DRS range of Scott Holmes, but Scott, he's hunting down Ryan Jacobs, and just this tyre offset, it's not fair. It's as though Scott is racing against F2 drivers because of how much of a pace difference he has. And that's not because Ryan Jacobs is a bad driver. It is all within those tyres on that kick Sauber that is giving him this pace advantage.
For the fact he can even see Ryan Jacobs as well. He's looking at him, staring him down. And we said how critical it is for Ryan Jacobs to win this race, to give him somewhat of a fighting chance within the championship. He wouldn't be out. He wouldn't be out of the question if he does get overtaken, but it just makes Abu Dhabi just 10 times harder. And you just start to feel that begging nature from Ryan. I could probably imagine the comms just asking Scott to stay away and to not get closer.
Oh, absolutely. I also believe Ryan Jacobs is streaming. So, I mean, if you want, after today's race, I would say go check out his VOD, see what's going through his mind and stuff, because Ryan Jacobs, he's a good person to watch when he's league racing, as he doesn't hide. From what I saw, I mean, I saw him do a race in PSGL. He doesn't hide his telemetry, he doesn't hide his thing, so if you want to learn how to be a good league racer and stuff, watch him. I would say he's really good to learn from, and I mean, look at the pace he's got. I mean, despite having 5 laps difference, and on the hard compound tyre, he's still holding a decent pace against Scott Holmes here, and look at this fight for P8, P7, I mean. It's almost 5, 6, 7 people involved for P7. We love this sort of racing here in WOR.
Talking of Ryan Jacobs, I've quickly pulled up his stream. He is locked. That man, there is nothing to break a sweat. Locked in fully. I've never seen someone so focused, but he is being so pinpoint perfect in the way that he drives. The occasional checks just to understand where he is. It's only a few laps to go. I think it will be a struggle, but a fight to the end.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is the sector where I think the tyres on the Kick Sauber here are slowly dying away. You can sort of see the little bit of rubber, you know, you can see the marbles on the tyres and stuff developing on it. You can just see the pace advantage. It's slowly deteriorating, and it's allowing Ryan Jacobs to stay ahead and just only allow a hint, a little sniff of that DRS towards Scott Holmes here. The gap is only 8 tenths. It's increasing, it's decreasing. Only a smidge there, a smidge here, and it's gonna be a fight to the line. This is gonna be, it's gonna be enjoyable.
Once we get into the straights, that's where it's going to be all favor towards Ryan Jacobs. But we do stick on board with Lorenz Patton as he is wanting to push some championship points away from him. He could make the move 30R. You'd be nuts to do it. Why not do it? He gets closer, almost pushing the Williams across 130R. Now's the opportunity to lunge. Are you going to lunge? No. Stay patient, stay calm. We quickly hop on with Scott Holmes. Can he make that run into turn 1 a little bit far away? 0.6 of a second, usually a bit difficult. But you can see in the background as Amon weave across the track. He makes his one move down to around the outside. Does go Lorenz Patton. Says, thank you very much. Why don't we make that Williams go further back?
Oh, and he will move on. A whopping move, by the way, round the outside. That requires a large set of balls to do that, because we saw it, a few drivers tried it and they got hit off the road. Now, Scott Holmes, we have this lap and one more. It's all going to go down towards the line. I think Scott Holmes may just have it though, but it really depends. I mean, Ryan Jacobs, he's pushing the Papaya McLaren to its utmost limit. Lorenz as well. This fighting for P1 and 2 could allow him to just sneak on in and make it a 3-way fight for today's win. And Lorenz somehow getting a P2 or a win here could upset the standings completely.
It very much could. I think it's the first time I've heard him speak. He is absolutely locked. He knows how important it is to keep the car behind him. Through 130R, are you audacious? No. Scott Holmes knows that this is not the opportunity. Will he make a lunge into the chicane? No, doesn't even bother with it because he has to remain patient. With 1 lap to go, there is one opportunity. He has the tire advantage. He has the pace advantage. He closes in onto Ryan. to the outside, but the inside line is still left open for Ryan Jacobs. It doesn't matter. Scott Holmes will put himself in first.
But just, he burned a lot of barrier there. He's going to go into recharge mode. Ryan Jacobs, stay close with him. Try and force him into that mistake, into the hairpin, into spoon curve. Ryan Jacobs can still win it here. It's not over yet. It's only over until they cross that checkered line. We're on the final lap here. It's been one hell of a race. It's the penultimate round. It's win or lose here. We've had upsets throughout the grid. We have George Ansel DNF from the race. We have Gianluca only just allowing himself to get a point. And then you've got the front three of Scott Holmes, Ryan Jacobs, and Lorenz Patton. Amos has dropped down the order as well. So both Williams are not going to gain as many points as you have P1 and P2 of Scott Holmes and Ryan Jacobs. As now in towards the final sector we will go. I think it's going to be going towards Scott Holmes. It looks more favourable. There's not enough track left. If there was one more lap, I think maybe Ryan Jacobs could have it in. But through to the final section of corners, it's Casio Triangle Chicane. It's the final corner now. And it's not going to Papaya, but it's going to kick. Scott Holmes wins round 9. And it's Ryan Jacobs in P2.
Yeah, and just to add more insult to injury, the time penalties massive affected. Gianluca is still within this championship fight. He will put himself up to P6 after all penalties. He jumped P6.
Oh!
What an absolute comeback drive.
How have they done that then? Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute, let's just say, my seat has been away from my bottom for the past 7 laps. I have been standing up, I've not sat down because of how exciting this race has been. We're just waiting for Nico Rasenberg to cross the line to be the final person to finish. I didn't even take in accountability of the 9 second and the 3 second penalties in front of Gianluca.
There was so much going on. But the standings stand like this. And it is with probably the not so closest, but it is still a championship fight we have on our hands. Scott Holmes will lead this championship with 100 points. Gianluca will be 6 points behind with up to 124. And it would be an impossible task. But they have to dream as they still can win. As Amos is 110 points, 20 points behind Scott Holmes, and 21 points behind is Ryan Jacobs. A major championship fight is about to lay ahead of us.
I cannot wait. Just look at where people started to where they finished. Amos started on pole and he's down to 5th. Ryan Jacobs started P3. He found his way up to that P2 spot. His teammate started P17 and finished P9. I would say we know who's won the Constructors. I would say it's very little chance Kicking McLaren can dethrone Williams. Williams have had what you could say a golden season. They've had not 1-2, but I believe they've had 2. Not only that, they've had both drivers on the podium more than any other team in this grid. And that just shows their dominance.
It really does. But when you have standout stars who are trying to fight for the... Well, actually, let's put it better. Constructors really doesn't mean that much. It doesn't mean anything in WOR. It is just there for pride if you want to work as a team. But the reality is this driver championship. And, well, all eyes are looking at the Williams and the Sauber. The rest of the eyes, If you're looking for third, it's going to between the Williams and McLaren. That's the reality of it. It would take, as I said, a miracle for Ryan Jacobs and Amos to win this championship. So all eyes look at Scott Holmes and Gianluca.
But also, knowing how the F1 games are, a miracle could happen. With, I mean, you never know. We could have a repeat of Baku, where Scott got disconnected and DNF'd by the game. So that could happen. That would be very heartbreaking for a certain individual if that was to happen to someone. But yeah, we just gotta go see next week. I don't think we should make any predictions. I just think we should be prepared that it's going to be the best race of the season. I mean, Japan, we had not many overtakes. It was more so train racing, and it was more of a strategical race. That's what you normally see with Suzuka. But going into Abu Dhabi, you've got a lot of overtaking moves. You've got all of Sector 1 where you can set up a move. You know, you've got that really long straight going into the chicane of 6 and 7. So Abu Dhabi's going to be one to watch. And of course, we've got that championship. So it's going to be cinema, and I'm excited.
It really is. It really is. I tell you what, this is the best way to round it off. Thank you for watching what has been an intense battle through and through. Remember, we still have PC Tier 2 running, and I know a lot of you have already jumped over. For the ones who have stayed for the action, yeah, you stayed at the right place. PCT 2, make sure you do hop over to them. But thank you very much for watching, and good night.
Goodbye, guys.